No.
Because it is time for Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9002. Hello, Internet! I am your host, SneakyDevil, joined today by Max Horse and Atin. And we have some stories for you.
This is your weekly, daily, podcastly reminder not to contact these damn authors. Leave them alone. Don't get us in trouble.
Yes, thank you for taking care of that early.
You're welcome.
Who's I supposed to ping again? Right, those people. And then also these people. You lazy pricks. Now, everything updated correctly. It's displaying the correct number 52.
Yes.
Excellent.
Si, senor.
Good. Hey, fuck you, Arn. Pay me money. So then, let me just get rid of that there. Turn off that. Alright. So, in lieu of your randomly selected fic, I encountered something so heinous, so illogical, that we have to simply read it first.
Oh no. Oh boy.
So this was a fic that was recommended as a totally funny story on Orpheus Kidwell's server. And I just want to take this time to say that that server is populated by nothing but inbred morons who would not know what a good fic is if it came up to them and gave them a blowjob. Because also, that server is a place in which they argued with me that there is no objective means of measurement to see if a fictional story is good or not.
I was about to say, yes, I see. How dare they argue with you? But, I mean, technically, the only test we can subject something to is whether or not it has proper grammar. That's the only test we can technically subject it to. Technically, everything else is subjective.
Well, yes, but there is objective measurements you can have for a fiction. Does it have main characters? Can you tell that they are the main characters? Is it... I mean, while enjoyment is subjective, because not everyone appreciates the same genres, and I will admit that readily, can you read the sentences? Does it make sense? You know... Is there an organization to the words on the page? These are all objective measurements to whether if something is good or not.
Yeah. I mean, back when I fancied being an English teacher and decided, fuck that. High schoolers are a pain in the ass, and middle schoolers I can't cuss around. Grammar is the first step to figure out if someone's good at writing.
I don't exactly remember what their argument was for grammar and spelling. But they
Please
did
tell
say,
me they didn't. Don't tell me
yes.
they tried to argue.
Yes,
No.
they tried to argue that grammar and spelling should have no impact on whether the quality of a story is good or not.
That's a filthy lie. If your story looks like it was written by a drunk kindergartner, I'm not gonna read that. I can't read that.
But anyway, so speaking of drunk kindergartners, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's an excellent segue into this story. Now, don't mind me. I'm just going to read out this title, and then let everyone absorb what's going to happen. So this is a Minecraft Ruby crossover called Minecraft Remnant.
Oh, Jesus.
Steve was having a normal day until he defeated a dragon and traveled through the end. Now he is stuck in a new world. How will the people of Remnant react to this extremely productive person who doesn't need sleep? and can effortlessly build structures on par with those of Remnant's greatest engineers. Well, I'll give you all time to sit on that and comprehend that. I'll just be fixing myself some assorted liquids.
When will the sweet release of death claim me?
Damn, why did they make this goddamn cap so quick to take off? Why is it called an easy pull tab if it doesn't fucking pull or is easy? Yeah!
That is a sign, senor, that you are drunk as a skunk.
I am not drunk. Also, there is no drinking on this podcast. Just the consumption of assorted liquids. For the love of Christ! How hard did they put this fucking thing on?
How's your apple juice bottle going there, buddy?
The maple syrup won't open!
I see.
Max,
what is he talking about?
I told you, this was an assorted liquid fixin'.
He's having trouble opening up his booze bottle, I guess.
Excuse you, there is no alcohol involved yet. Just maple syrup. Oh, that shit's a lot of fucking maple syrup. That's why you keep the apple on. Just waiting for this to end so I can clip it properly. For what to end?
I think he means your whole thing.
This isn't a shtick. I legitimately had trouble getting the maple syrup off.
No, I know. I'm aware. That's
It's
the
like...
fun thing about dealing with you. Most of the time, you're not joking around. It's just like that.
They don't think it be like that, but he's... Guys, it really do be like that.
Shit. Got my spoon. Ah, fuck!
Didn't I send you a pocket knife a few months ago? What, did you already lose it?
What part of pocket knife says excellent mixing instrument?
I could make several comments, but I'm too much of a gentleman for that.
Man, I was just gonna suggest a pen knife at that point.
Okay. Now that I have acquired my assorted liquid beverage, let us begin.
Oh, God.
This was kind of a stupid idea I had about the Ruby universe. Thought it might be funny. I was going to make it into a Galactic Craft fic and kind of ridicule the dust found in the universe for giggles. For those who are unaware, Galactic Craft is a mod for Minecraft in which it spawns other worlds, I guess you can say, to represent planets in the solar system. A young teenager by the name of Ruby Rose approached the Dust Shop hoping to find her favorite weapons magazine while waiting for her sister Yang Xiaolong to pick her up and take her back to Patch. She looked over and saw one of the strangest sights she could imagine. A teenager, approximately her own age, maybe a little older, was trying to haggle for some dust and a map.
Hold on. Why is haggling weird?
Because the author doesn't... Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a little hint. The author doesn't know what pacing is, so he doesn't quite know how to structure the events that happen. so that they make sense as to how he describes them. See, the weird part is actually in the next sentence, in which he's trying to haggle by using a green crystal that is not made of dust. So it's weird because he's trying to barter using gems.
I mean, not necessarily the weirdest thing. I'm sure that when someone who, at least from their perspective, clearly comes in from what is one of the outer settlements,
They would likely sell everything and haggle using money then, not with actual...
using physical goods instead of money.
No, not really.
If it's some random settlement in the middle of nowhere, they wouldn't have a way to convert their whatever it is they produce to Lian.
Also, in case anyone was wondering, it has how I rectified the maple syrup issue. I used my what's that tooth called? The really sharp one.
Canine.
Canine to pierce it and cut a hole.
Ain't that just like a human?
Now look, I tried everything else, so I fell back on the most classic of human reactions to something that's being an issue. Gnaw on it.
No, Sneaky, you forgot hurting it. You forgot hurting it into a corner until it dies.
I think that's what worries me the most about like dealing with Yanks versus Southern people. Like our first reaction, oh hey, let me get my knife out here. Your first reaction, I got a tooth.
No. The first reaction of any true Northerner is, let me try my keys.
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna stick my keys into maple syrup.
Okay, true. In this particular instance, that was the correct reaction. I'm just saying, like...
Yeah, obviously keys are the go-to knife for everything. Everyone knows that. Max, I can feel the southern disapproval from Max.
Yeah.
What?
That keys are the universal knife.
You always have them because you're always driving somewhere.
Exactly.
So what you're saying is the next thing I send you guys needs to be a pocket knife hidden as a key, because we have those.
Dude, I have opened every package you have sent to me with my keys.
I mean, sure. Here's the thing. I need to be able to attach it to my key ring is the issue.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
I mean, I already have a lot of knives. I just don't use them. But anyway, so point being is that there is a kid in the From Dawn to Dusk shop of the Ruby episode 1, and this kid is trying to buy dust and a map in exchange for an emerald. And this is weird.
Yeah, man, it'd be this. Or something like it.
No. Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah, I run a writing podcast, not a speaking podcast. Come on.
I love when Google gives me results for Amazon pages that don't exist. It's the best.
That's just so much fun.
Okay, potatoes, it's... I'm not gonna say anything. That... I hate when I see people spell it like that.
But it is spelled like that.
No, it's duct, D-U-C-T, because it's what you stick on air duct.
But in the north, there is a brand of duct tape called duct tape.
I've seen that brand, and it's fucking dumb. Because it's not as strong as actual duct tape. I've tried it. It's shit.
I like
you
Gorilla
actual duct
tape.
tape for like
What's
$8.
the other brand? Is it not just the normal silvery stuff?
No, so the common brand up in the north is called duct tape. It's got a little picture of a duck on the inside of the paper roller.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. We just buy duct tape, man.
Yeah,
normal,
but you're in the
unadorned.
You're in the Mideast. Yeah, the Mideast. You're not the North.
Midwest, not the
Mid-East, yes. The Mid-East.
The Mid-East. Fuck out.
You've invented a new time zone in the States.
I got my Mid-East time? I'm sorry, you fucking what? I mean, there are a lot of beardos in the Mid-East, so...
I don't care, potatoes. It's shit compared to actual duct tape.
He does have a point. The duct tape is pretty shit.
Like, you want the good stuff, find a local supply warehouse. $8 gets you, like, I want to say 200 to 300 yards of industrial duct tape, the kind of stuff you use to pass inspections.
The kind of stuff
That
that
stuff
you
ain't coming
use
out.
to plug holes.
That is not coming off unless it's something like cardboard, because nothing sticks to cardboard as well as like packing tape.
For some ungodly
Well, no,
reason.
packing tape sticks to stuff better.
No, packing
No,
tape
no.
sticks to specifically cardboard
Yes.
better. Duct
It
tape
is the
sticks to
most
everything
frustrating
else.
thing ever. It is by far the most frustrating thing ever, getting packing tape off cardboard. But anyway, we have deviated. So the kid then says, because of course the author makes no mention the kid is now talking, but he is. Look, I've got a couple of these emeralds, and I really need a map. I don't know where I am. I thought the villagers would like this currency. I also want to find shelter before the zombies and creepers arrive. Totally standard thing that you would say to people that don't look like villagers. Kid, are you okay? Zombies, creepers, if you mean the Grim, you're safe within the walls of the city. Grim, what are those? Replied the stranger. What?
Why would he think the shopkeeper looks like a villager?
Because
the author's dumb.
Yeah. Basically, the reason why this is a situation that is supposed to be comedic. You are supposed to laugh at this punchline, even though there was no setup to the punchline or any indication that there was going to be a punchline. But this is supposed to be a joke, and you're supposed to find this funny.
Well, I don't. So, job failed.
Replied the stranger, hoping for some answer to the many questions he acquired over the past few hours. He jumped through the end and somehow ended up in a new world. He turned around looking dejected and went toward the area with some books, hoping to get some answers. So, the second problem here is that the author has switched from Ruby's point of view and having Ruby thoughts to suddenly we're talking about Steve and Steve thoughts. Now, normally, you could get away with this with it being a omnipotent?
Omniscient narrator.
Omniscient, there we go, yeah. Omniscient third-person narrator, except it's not written in that point of view. It's written over the shoulder. And is just hopping from person to person. What Steve didn't notice was a large group of men approached. What Steve didn't notice was a large group of men approached the shopkeeper. Ooh, that's tensing.
No, I was gonna say, technically, it's fine as a sentence. It doesn't flow well, but grammatically, it is correct.
No, that's not that tensing.
What? Right, I'm sorry, I got confused because we were just talking about a third-person omniscient narrator.
You need
if
had.
they had a third-person omniscient narrator, that would still be fine.
Yeah, but it's still missing the was it third perfect? Yeah, third perfect form. There needs to be a had in there. Had approached the shopkeeper. Because of the way the sentence is written?
Yes, I see what you're saying.
And was instead, and then also needs to restructure the last part, because this is just a fucking paragraph, but a single sentence. Observing the dust and products on display within the dust shop as they walked towards the elderly shopkeeper 11:10. Again, this is not Steve that was observing the dust and the products. It was the large group of men that was observing the tested products, but the author doesn't know how to structure sentences.
Well, potatoes. Here's the thing. The reason lots of fan fiction authors will write in over the shoulder POV is because it's a very easy thing to
Yeah,
write.
very easy.
It's one of the easiest ways to convey information, because whatever information you need to convey from whoever's perspective, you can just go.
Yeah.
And whenever there's not a good way to convey it through a character, you can just tell it.
Exactly.
Which, and to be fair, there are plenty of books that are written that way.
A lot of the big popular fantasy books are written third person over the shoulder or first person.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and no, I personally don't like that. Most of the ones that I read, things like Sanderson, Wheel of Time, those books generally stick to a first person perspective, giving us important information from a first person perspective.
I
They hop
personally,
around a lot,
yeah,
but
I personally enjoy first person more when it comes to original fiction, mostly because it allows the reader, being me, to keep at the same pace as with the person that's in the story in terms of knowledge. You know, because
mm,
what they see is what's described to us, the reader. And so if they don't see something, then we don't see something. So then we get to have like that moment of when that person also has their moment, or maybe sometimes we have a little bit before, um, of like maybe they had seen something but didn't quite notice it enough to comment on what maybe person X was doing. Like they saw person X, in scene 1, and then
right.
in scene 5 they're like, oh shit, person X was doing Y, and you get to have that aha moment. Because in the more third person perspectives, it would be like, what they didn't see was person X was planting the bomb behind the couch. It's like, okay, well that you lose the tension that could have been there.
Right. Now, of course, to be fair, they can just not tell us that a bomb is being planted.
Sure, but you could also just write in first person.
Hmm.
But the third person over the shoulder is very easy to write. If you want your character to have thoughts that are displayed, you can, boom, like that. If you don't want to have the thoughts displayed, you don't need to. If you want something described and it's within their what's Neji's phrase? Max, come on, what's Neji's phrase? Something about divination.
Neji's?
Neji's.
You expect me to remember something from
Yes.
like part 1 Naruto?
No, what he says in the Ninja Storm when he does his ultimate. You within
It's been
the
a while. All
range
I
of my
remember is you
divination.
within my range.
It's like range
That
of
I don't remember
divination or
anything
something
about
like that.
divination.
No, there's the word divination in there.
Sneaky.
What?
Remember, you could be wrong. You're notorious for that.
Let's see. Was it full burst or 4?
I think it was 3. Yes, that's it. You are within range of my divination, 8 trigrams, 128 palms. Yes, I was right. Fuck you guys.
Man, remember how busted Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 was?
Fucking Chibinata is the most clutch god tier character.
Until Might Guy comes out.
Fucking Mike guy.
Might Guy! Might Guy and the 4th Hokage having Flick Awakenings was the
That was
dumbest thing they
not
did.
okay.
Especially when it's like, oh, by the way, their dash is a teleport. What?
Oh yeah, and then the stun locking that Naruto could do, that Chibi Naruto could do with his awakened form.
I'm sorry, what did you
So
just say?
in Ninja Full Burst 3, Naruto, Chibi Naruto,
Kid
could
Naruto.
Kid Naruto, I'll call him Chibi.
I know you do.
Kid Naruto would get the one tail, awakened form. And in that form, he could use the tailed beast Rasengan that he does at the Valley of the End battle at the end of Naruto 1, part 1, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And the problem is that it's a stun and a fumble. And the other problem is if you time it right, you can in fact chain them infinitely.
That seems fair.
As Max found out. We
It's
had
kind
good
of
times with
dumb.
that game. We had good times.
We did, and then we got 4, and 4 just the fucking input lag on online was on PC was just not great.
No. And then Full Burst came, and we're like, wow, it still sucks. Thanks.
We had full burst. What we got was a 60 FPS mode and
Right.
a massive. We got a massive like. It was supposed to be a massive fix on PC, and it was still really bad on 4. And we played full burst. Like, oh, let's do 60 FPS mode. Oh no, it's literally playing everything out at twice the frames
Yeah.
in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So every second was playing 15 frames of animation instead of 60. I think they fixed that, but I'm not sure.
So anyway, to further your cement the idea that this author is a complete utter hack, he just yeets Steve out of the story, so he can write what happens in canon, and then has Steve re-enter the story whenever he wants Steve to do something. So, as the following: the criminal known as Roman Torchwick asked the shopkeeper, "Do you have any idea how hard it is to find a dust shop open this late?" He flicked his cigar. A
Well,
slight
here's the thing.
smirk appeared on his face.
It,
One of the
Steve just
larger
being
men.
there wouldn't change Roman's initial dialogue.
No, it would, but like I said, just look. One of the larger men pointed a gun toward the elderly shopkeeper, who quickly raised his hands in alarm. "Please, just take my line and leave," he said in a panicked voice. "Shush, shush, 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 shush. Calm down, we're not here for your money." Roman gestured toward a few of the men. "Grab the dust." A henchman opens a case and removes one of the several cylinders, which the group uses to take the dust from the tube containers on the wall. They made sure to grab all they could before their getaway. Steve, who wasn't paying attention, started to notice something was up and decided to armor up and hide until he could find the right time to strike. The elderly shopkeeper, meanwhile, proceeds to fill the case for the henchman. However, the muted sound of "This will be the day" goes coming from the back of the shop, so one of the men gestured to the other and he left to investigate the noise disturbance. "All right, kid, put your hands where I can see 'em." The red-headed teenager didn't know someone was talking to her, so kept enjoying her magazine. What they both didn't realize was that a diamond-armored man was approaching the man from behind. "Hey, I said hands in the air. You got a death wish or something?" He grabbed her shoulder and forced her to turn around. Ruby Rose had a look of astonishment and slowly lowered her headphones to hear what the man was saying. "Yes?" Ruby asked, still baffled by what was going on at the moment. "I said, put your hands in the air now," he yelled at her. Ruby still looked confused because it's canon. Blah, 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 canon. And she looked behind the henchman, and her eyes got really wide, and then there was a thwack sound that resonated through the rest of the shop. And that's it. And then Ruby is still looking at the man wide-eyed, unsure what to do. She could have taken on that guy easily, but was curious about this newcomer. Period. So just keep in mind that this guy has just been yeeted out of the story. Because there was a thwack sound, and now the guy is gone. He doesn't exist anymore. His body didn't hit the ground. There was just a
Because,
thwack.
of course, that's what happens to Minecraft characters.
Exactly. And even though the thwack resonated throughout the rest of the shop, to hit someone's skull so hard with a sword made of diamonds that a thwack resounded through a shop, well, their skull is gone, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. Because,
yeah, no, yeah, that,
yeah. Because, I don't know if anyone here has ever, tested the harmonics of a gem, but they don't really make thwack sounds. They're rocks. Really hard rocks that make thwack sounds when they strike something really hard, made of flesh.
Here's a pro tip.
Specifically,
That's not
someone's
a skull.
skull. Specifically, in this case, someone's skull. So, this guy's dead. And, really dead. Anyway, so he was wearing transparent armor. It was crystalline in appearance, along with his sword, which was glowing slightly, along with his pickaxe in his left hand. She was even more baffled now, but brushed off the thought until later. So this is another thing that I noticed with, I guess you could call it second language English speakers. So Arn does this too. Is just the random commas that really don't need to be there. Technically, they are correct by the most.
I would say, to be fair, commas can be quite confusing.
Yes, which is why I'm saying this is a common thing, and I'm not really getting on the author's case for it. But like in this instance here, there doesn't need to be a comma there. The but is fine. You don't need a comma before the but. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There isn't because the comma specifically is for when you want a pause to occur, but still continuing the thought of a sentence. There doesn't need to be a pause there. Specifically, it's actually hindered by having a pause there. She was even more baffled now, but brushed off the thought until later. You just want the flow in a straight line, no pausing. Yeah, I know you. Yeah, I know. That's why I help you. Feels odd to write a lot of short sentences where I compress them a bit. Yeah, you know, it's just a thing that you. Lots of people have issues with it, so not much to harp on. Freeze! The other henchman yelled, noticing the two occupants who took out his comrade. His eyes got wide, looking at the new guy. At least you aren't like this guy, who's just like, hey, what if I just made the entire paragraph one sentence? She swung her scythe, and the other two henchmen broke through the glass in the front of the store. Of course, she just teleported there, but, you know, we don't mention that part, or generally anything. So, basically, it's just a stop-motion film, in where the person forgot to put the motion into the stop motion. Cut to outside the shop. Because apparently we're now in third person omniscient? Yeah, omniscient. Because apparently we're not over anyone's shoulder now, so we're just hopping point of views. When the henchmen and Ruby crashed through the windows, we got some tense issues there. Roman and the other men were outside watching the two teenagers who challenged them. Ruby gets up from her cannon. Steve yeets some people with his sword and pickaxe. Which I want to mention again, that Ruby was pulling her punches and, you know, hitting people with the not sharp part of her scythe. as far as we can tell.
Because she
just
wasn't
kind of,
big on murder.
She's kind of just bashing them with the metal.
Which,
Yeah,
to be fair,
so.
could still murder someone.
Broken bones, definitely.
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's a reason why none of the men got up after being whacked with the scythe.
Aside from probably not wanting to get whacked again.
Yes, that is also a fair statement. However, specifically, there is no way to non-lethally use a pickaxe. In case anyone who is unaware...
No, Sneaky, be fair. They could swing it, like, sideways. They could, like, try to hit them with the top of it.
Yes, except for the part where the author says Steve used the pickaxe for slicing and the sword for stabbing the henchman.
Ah, yes, no, there's nothing lethal. There's nothing non-lethal about that. Those men are going to be dead.
Yeah, those men are all dead.
Also, SMH Steve using a pickaxe as a weapon. You should know better. It's a waste of durability.
Honestly, I'm impressed that he figured out how to slash with a pickaxe.
I mean,
that takes some doing.
Well,
no, I'm not saying
technically
you're
it's
wrong.
actually quite easy to do that. If you can catch them with the point, you can just drag it across them, and that will cut them open.
I don't think that's how slashing is defined, though.
No, it's not. But you can do it. It's more like a very, very gruesome rent. But
that in fact, that sounds more like you're ripping into them with the point.
Yes. Yeah, it's more a piercing weapon. Yes. I'm gonna use my sword for stabbing and my pickaxe for slicing, instead of the other way around. Because I'm a smart boy. Never mind the fact that one-handed, you really aren't using a sword for piercing. I mean, yes, there was a decent amount of swords
I would say
that did pierce
certainly
one-handed.
not the variety of sword that good old Steve uses.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true. It is a broader, flatter sword. But yeah, arming swords did have a point, but they're used in conjunction with a shield or a buckler, because the person slices at you and you use their shield, and then you hit them with the pointy part of your sword. Because they can't block it anymore. But European swords were both good at piercing and slashing, because Europeans are excessively competent at killing other Europeans.
Listen, Europeans got really good at killing other Europeans.
Steve should be using an axe instead if he is like twice the damage. Yeah. I'm not quite sure why you're using a pickaxe for combat. That's just bad knowledge, I suppose. Anyway, so blah blah blah. Vicious, slicing them all. The henchmen were soon defeated. The clothes, for some reason, were a little singed. Ruby fires again. Why is that mentioned? What clothes? Whose clothes? Oh, the henchmen that were defeated? I guess. Ruby fires again and brings the side down on another attacker. The side of what? Her scythe?
I don't know.
The side of the fire? While dodging the other henchman's gunfire with her rifle's speed.
Not her rifle's speed, really.
Her rifle... I didn't realize you could dodge gunfire by your own bullet count.
Well, see, if my RPM is faster, Sneaky, then I can shoot more bullets than they can, and all of my bullets will intercept
You just shoot all of their bullets.
Exactly.
You see, Ivan, when you shoot more rounds than the enemy, you can block their shots.
I mean, yo, dog, that's what Gundam does with missiles.
But no, but like that's actually a thing we do IRL too, though. Like,
yes, I know. We shoot down missiles by shooting a fuck ton of bullets.
no, we shoot missiles with other missiles. That's how we shoot missiles down.
Yes, I know we have anti-missile missiles. It's dumb and redundant, and I love it.
So the plan is we shoot a missile at the missile. I'm sorry, we what? Oh, military never change. No, wait, no, military do change. I want real guns. And anyway, so she dodges all of the gunfire with her rifle's speed, getting in close to knock him into the air. And as everyone in the fighter genre knows, that once you knock your enemy into the air, that means you can combo them freely. I specifically
That'd be
said
how that works.
I specifically said that because Max is in here, and I know he would correct me. Like, fuck, you need a much bigger caliber than Ruby's scythe to knock her back with it. Oh, and active tank armor is just explosions that shoot out a little jet of steel to detonate incoming rockets. Yeah, ablative armor.
Ablative.
No, but no, the my personal headcanon alert. My personal headcanon for why Ruby's caliber, which is just 50 cal, is capable of moving her around in an actual manner is that she's just using partial of her speed power to turn herself into the rose petals. Partially. Every single time she fires. That's my headcanon as to how she manages to tell physics to eat shit. Is that she lightens herself by turning
yes, I was
partially
going to say,
into
if she
rose
was... Well, she's already a very slight individual, and we see that she has to brace the rifle.
Well,
when she
you
doesn't
gotta
want it to
keep
move
in
her.
mind, though, like, you gotta keep in mind is that people can fire 20mm rounds from a sniper rifle by just having it hip braced without being moved by it. Like,
Yes.
it is a thing you can do. And, like, the person I watched did it, they weren't even jacked. They were just, a person.
Trained.
Well, not even. Redneck is trained, I suppose, yeah.
See, what you don't know is that's actually just in the genetics at this point.
I mean, it's actually quite likely that, not necessarily firearm proficiency, but...
Oh, well, you know that's actually a thing, right? Is that when you wanted to train good bowmen, you trained the father? Because that was actually a thing that Europeans noticed, is that the son of bowmen were actually good with the bow compared to their peers at the same age.
Yes.
So yes, it could very well be genetic, Max.
Well, yeah, but it has more... It's not actually... It's not genetic skill, it's genetic things that help make them more skillful. Like,
we really don't know enough about
coordination.
genetics to say that. Active armor is a real thing, yeah. I just call it ablative. What kind but anyway, as I was saying, most of the henchmen were somehow thrown towards the feet of Roman. I'm glad the author is completely holding fast to just depicting all of canon. The red-headed robber looked down at the fallen robbers. You were worth every cent, he paused. Cannon, 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 cannon. Cannon,
Once
cannon,
again,
cannon.
nothing... Here's the problem. So far, nothing that Steve has done would have prompted a different response from Roman.
Okay,
His henchmen still got beat up by children.
Yes,
he didn't notice the children.
I'm not saying that the author is, wrong for just doing canon here. It's just, it's canon. We've already seen it.
Okay,
yeah. Multiple times at this point.
Yes.
That is, generally speaking, the thing that we, all of us, do when the author's just regurgitating canon and we're like, this is dumb.
So Ruby dodges over Roman's shot, and Steve, unable to dodge, just eats it to the face. And he's fine, except for the part where his face is now covered in soot like it's a cartoon. Ruby then runs up the ladder after Roman. Hey! She shouts, and then Roman looks behind himself and sees Ruby. And then Roman stops at the edge of the roof, shouting, persistent, except the words died in his mouth as he noticed something to the side of Ruby. His eyes widened when he saw Steve. Roman saw the mysterious teenager jumping up and down, placing cubes of dirt, using that as leverage. Steve jumped onto the roof like nothing was out of the ordinary, raising his sword and pickaxe.
Hold on.
Ruby,
How was he placing stuff blocks when he now has a sword and pickaxe in hand?
you're supposed to laugh at this. This is another joke. Get it? Because he's from, Minecraft, and whenever you want to go up something, you just jump and place blocks. It's funny. You're supposed to laugh here. Steve jumped onto the roof like nothing was out of the ordinary, and Ruby, slightly distracted, asked Steve, "Is that your semblance?" in an excited manner. Steve glanced toward Ruby, a look of utter bafflement and confusion. Was Ruby an utter look of bafflement and confusion? Apparently. What's a semblance? Both Ruby and Roman looked at Steve in complete confusion and astonishment. I'm sure Roman would be confused. Roman would just be like, that's weird. Die.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, he might show confusion on his face, but he would still go, that's weird. Bang, bang, bang.
Hey, he'd still have something
Something
to
along
say,
the lines
some
of,
action.
that's cute, kid, but it can't help you here. Bang, bang. You know?
I think I would have enjoyed this more if we weren't doing the Roman thing and it was just a kid who just could carry objects like it was Minecraft. Like, his semblance is just blocks. I
Indeed.
feel like that would have been a more interesting story immediately
Hmm?
instead of
Oh, don't worry.
regurgitating canon
It gets
again.
worse.
No.
So,
No.
end of the line, Red. I shouldn't forget about you, Sparkles, Roman yells out while looking at a red dust crystal. He
Oh,
throws it.
hot sparkles, get it?
Yeah, Sparkles, Captain Sparkles. Yep.
Yeah. I guess, I guess points for at least giving him the shiniest fucking armor in the game, second to gold.
Honestly, in modded Minecraft, gold is actually better than diamond these days, depending on the kind of enchantments you have access to.
Even though I did always like the, yeah, gold is actually a terrible metal, so go ahead, build armor out of it. It's shit.
I did like that notch. Specifically allows you to create on metal weapons and armor out of gold, but it's just like worse durability than wood.
Yeah. It's like, oh, this is more realistic than I wanted out of this game.
Well, because here's the thing. The first time I touched Minecraft, like actually touched Minecraft, the only thing I'd played at that point was Terraria.
Ah, yes, yeah.
So, of course, I was like, got my steel armor, time to make some gold.
I enjoy the random changes in tense for no reason. Super Potato says that he enjoys the random changes of tense in this fanfic. Yeah, no, it only gets worse. It gets worse. You thought the previous action scenes were bad? Get ready. Roman cackled with
know.
laughter, and then stopped when he noticed a small wall of solid stone in front of them, along with a purple protective barrier. What in the hell? Question mark, ellipses, Roman mumbled, only wondering for a brief second where the purple barrier came from before looking a little to the side of the wall. There was a woman in front of the wall with the two teenagers coming around from behind the stone wall. As Ruby looks on, Glinda Goodwitch waves her weapon and summons several streaks of purple at the craft. Yes, she summons the color purple and sends it at the craft.
Well, I guess if you weren't paying attention to the show, yeah, that's what it looks like.
Roman is thrown around in the back until he goes to the cockpit, where the woman in red, her face unseen. Well, remember how I said the author was like...
again, author, you need to stop.
Remember the part where I said that the author's literally sticking to pure canon for every canon scene? Yes.
Well, not only that, the problem is they're using visual description. They're using
visual descriptors in the written, yes. Yeah, in the written medium. Yes, I know. He's struggling with the controls. He noticed Sparkles putting up a cube of stone along with a cube of stone with a weird hole in the middle of it. Roman thought it unimportant at the moment. We got a huntress, he yelled, the rest of the craft acknowledging the problem. Apparently the bullhead is sentient.
Hey, at least that might explain why you can fit greatswords in it.
The bullhead is as big as I need it to be for what I need it to be that large. Probably the best fucking response I have ever
Honestly,
gotten.
We had more respect for him. For going, fuck you, it's as big as I need it to be.
Yeah. But, like, I sat down and did actual basic math for that shit. Like...
You see, according to this math, you're fucking wrong. Yeah, well, I don't like your math, so you're wrong. Oh. Almost as good as that. Oh, wait, was that the same guy? I think it was the same guy that did all four of the knights and just gave them names.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what. Remember.
And claimed them to be completely original characters.
I was doing Artorias' height with his greatsword inside of a bullhead that's sized for a standard container to pick up a standard container. Just like, no, there's not enough room for this shit.
Yeah,
at all.
Because it was at the docks.
I was saying, was that the same guy as the dude who did all four knights and then gave them first names and then claimed because he gave them first names they were his original characters, not inspired by Dark Souls?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was that. Yeah, it was.
Because remember, we were using Artorias' height and weight.
Yeah.
And I was also using Roman's height in comparison to the bullhead he was in episode 1. Like, I went...
They aren't the four...
I went full OCD on it.
They aren't the four knights. I gave them different names.
Except their first names were all still the same.
Yeah, it was still Hawkeye, Ornstein, Artorias, and Kieran.
Yeah. Oh, God. Sometimes the responses we get from authors are something else.
Like I said, I respected him more for the fact that he was like, shut up.
I mean, it's hard not to respect someone who's being like, well, fuck you, I'm the author. Like... Like, here's the thing. I always have respect for people that at least come out and say it. It just makes me more disappointed in you in the long run, though.
So you guys ready for this?
No.
The unknown pilot and Roman switched, with the woman taking control of the situation. For then Glinda glows purple and aims another blast of purple above the craft, resulting in a dark storm cloud over the jet. The hell, Roman said, trying to gain control of the aircraft. With a flick of her wand, a large, jagged hail starts falling that pummels the jet. Apparently they're in a jet. They're not a bullhead. They're in a jet.
Ah, I see. Those troop carrier jets.
Yeah, the troop carrier jets.
I wasn't aware we were in a VTOL jet now.
And even breaks through the window, narrowly missing Roman's head. The woman reaches the back, and her arms and chest light up like fire, aiming a burst of energy at Glinda. The huntress blocks it, but the flame splatters behind her and glows hot with the enemy's hands. and Glinda backflips out of the explosion, which destroys part of the roof, and magically gathers the shards to create a large arrow, which she then throws at the craft. The mysterious woman blocks the attack, and Roman keeps evading. The wreckage separates and reshapes into more arrows that encircle the jet, but the woman summons several glowing rings that expand to destroy the shards.
I'm starting to get upset, Sneaky, because this is like, I want to say at least the 40th time I've had to sit through canon on the episode 1 with you in this stream now.
Ruby, finally acting, reverts her scythe into its rifle form to fire at the woman, who blocks each shot and creates several blazing circles around her opponents. Apparently she's Lena. And she's just using Light Strike Array.
I mean, that would be kind of a fun shit post. Replace Cinder with Lena.
Instead of Cinder Fall, Lena Inverse wakes up in her body one day. Remnant will never be the same.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say Lena Inverse. It's whatever Lena's. I was thinking Lena from Dota 2, but
No, it's way
Yeah.
better if it's Lena Inverse.
you're right. It is. I'm sure. I've just never seen Slayers.
I'm immortal, you can't kill me! Lacuna Blade!
But what if I could?
Oh, God, Lena Inverse. So few Slayer crossovers, which I'm kind of actually glad about that. The Slayer community
I
is
would say
basically dead.
you don't want that to happen.
Yeah, I cherish my memories of Lena Inverse. And not in that way, you pervert.
So here's the question: is it worth watching?
Slayers, in general, I found to be highly amusing.
Second opinion, Max?
It's on the backlog. I got to get through a bunch of mecha shows.
Like, don't get me wrong.
Do you have the Blu-rays for it though?
It's not some sort of like
No.
top tier anime that'll make you go wow. Like, I can't even tell you the plot of Slayer. It was just actually really good comedy for me.
You know, I do feel kind of bad for Slayers, though, because you can't get the first 3 seasons on Blu-ray, but you can get seasons 4 and 5 because they were recent enough to warrant a Blu-ray release.
Fuck out of this game.
And in its defense, it is $60 for the total series. That's actually not a bad price.
Or you can sail the high seas and acquire it for free.
But Sneaky, what if I want to support the original creators?
Well, that is true. You could support the original creators. However, I think
the
they've
official
died of old
release.
age.
Then it will support his family.
I don't think that's how Japan works.
Did the creator die of old age? Can you confirm this for me?
I can't confirm shit.
Like, I love that was your first thing. I'm just like, wait, did he die? Is this a Familiar of Zero situation?
Anyway, so, the glowing circles. There was suddenly a loud explosion toward the tail end of the craft, with explosions going off randomly around the bullhead. Oh, so the jet's actually also a, mecha... What's that word?
Mecha shifting?
Mecha shift, yeah. The jet mecha shifted into a bullhead, and Glinda then telekinetically pushes Ruby and rolls herself out of a massive explosions, and both look up to see the hatch close and the craft fly away. They both turned towards the mysterious Steve, who was starting to dismantle the wall cube by cube. The normally stoic Glinda had wide eyes, while Ruby, who had seen enough to know this guy wasn't normal, just observed in an excited posture hoping she might be able to see his weapons, as they looked very different from what she was used to seeing. Ruby turned towards Professor Goodwitch. "You're a huntress." She paused in an awe-struck voice. "Can I have your autograph?" Glinda paused, taking in the request for Ruby before sighing and analyzing the roof. She noticed the armored man was now gone, chastising herself in her head about losing such an individual. She would have to make an all-call to the Vale Police Department to see if they could catch the mysterious teenager that almost aided in the capture of Roman Torchwick. Yes, that's right, Glinda. Put an APB out for the guy who almost captured a criminal. Nailed it.
Sounds
And
like Chicago Police Department.
hey guys, this person almost did our job. Fucking book him.
Would it really surprise you if the Chicago Police Department did that?
Not in the slightest.
Good, because I'm sure they have.
So to mercifully spare us, the author's continued attempts at writing canon, he just skips straight to the point where initiation's already happening.
All right, let's see where this goes.
"This is it? Question mark. Ellipses," Yang asked as she parted through the tree line. Apparently, she split in half to walk through the tree line. That's interesting. I didn't realize that was Yang's new semblance.
Either that, or she split the tree line in half.
No, but she parted, not the tree line.
I like my version better, though.
That does sound better. With her new partner, Blake, by her side, Yang and Blake both looked at the clearing and were flabbergasted. Ellipses. There was the temple that Professor Ozpin told the students about during initiation, but, how? Random, what's that single quote mark called? Fucking
Apostrophe?
No, it's just a single quote mark. Not an apostrophe.
Eh. It's
guess-
there. It exists.
I guess it is called an apostrophe in this instance. So yeah, random apostrophe. Both Yang and Blake were speechless. Why the hell were there a wooden house on outskirts along with what looked like a fully functioning farm filled with
Speechless
carrots?
with 2 L's.
Yes, he did.
The fuck?
Fully functioning farm filled with carrots, potatoes, wheat, beets, and were those chicken and sheep? Question mark, exclamation point. Everything was fenced as well, and there was even a small lake surrounded by sugarcane. Blake and Yang looked at each other incredulously. Maybe we should investigate. Professor Ozpin didn't say anything about residents in the Emerald Forest. Okay, well, it's one thing if it was like a house in the process of being built. It's like we should investigate this. He didn't say anything about residents, but it's like a fully formed house next to a fully operating farm with like already noticeably growing foods in it, with like sheep and chickens fenced in. Like this is clearly obviously we all know it wouldn't take long to make that. But to someone who lives in Remnant, this is clearly a old construction, that has been here for almost a season now, because you got to keep in mind the growing patterns of the food in the fields that are apparently obvious enough to make out the types of them. So clearly, the field is nearing harvest, which means the house has been here for, at minimum, one full growing season. So not exactly something that popped up recently, which if, say Ozpin was depositing relics, quote unquote, that they have to retrieve from the temple, he would probably know about this, which would make it the opposite of suspicious. It would make it old and known. So, yeah. She raised her hands and the trees parted to reveal a safe way through the Red Sea. Yeah, thanks, potatoes. let's see, blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah. Yang and Blake approached the door, and Yang, being slightly forward, knocked on the door. Blake distinctly heard a "give me a minute" from the house, and it was almost like an echo. She knew Yang didn't hear anything with her normal human ears, so she didn't comment on the fact. What? If it was an echo, that means both your ears hear it, you dumbass author. Unless Blake specifically hears things differently with her animal ears in a distinct fashion that she can always differentiate which ear is hearing what. At which point I would hand it to you, except for the part where you never mentioned it until now. So... this story is 10 out of 10, best story ever. Exactly, potatoes. I can't believe I gave it such a bad review initially.
You're just such a bad person.
Yeah, I'm just so bad at calling it. Yep. So someone answered the door. It was Steve. Hi, can I help you? Yeah, so we're new students. So the stranger finally snapped his fingers, and they both vaporized because he had the affinity gauntlet. I'm just kidding, I wish. That explains it. That's why I saw students flying earlier today, yelled the stranger. That was rude. Please call me Steve. Please continue.
I'll be back in a minute.
Dialogue. It's fine. What does it explain, and why are you living in the Emerald Forest? It's one of the most dangerous areas outside of Vale, Yang exclaimed, shock clear in her features and tone of voice. What's wrong with this forest? Are you telling me I should set up my home in a different place? It's taken me hours to start gathering raw materials and plants and everything from my farm alone. Well, at least I didn't get far this time. Blake's eyes narrowed. What do you mean it's only taken you a few hours? Steve looked at Yang and Blake oddly. What? This is only a few hours of work for me. Are you telling me your people don't build houses quickly around here? Yang and Blake's eyes widened. Yang commented, You're telling me this was built in an hour? It even has fences surrounding the entire farm. Really, that's what you take problem with? Not the entirely operational, completed growing season farm. You take problems with the fences. Really? This author is clearly city-born because they have no idea how food is grown. What?
What do you mean they have no idea? I mean, most people don't know how food is grown. And he clearly doesn't care because it's supposed to be Minecraft, Steve. Operating on Minecraft rules.
That's fine. No. The problem here, Max, is that Yang is finding a hard time believing that Steve set the house up in a few hours, included a finished growing season field. Because remember, Blake and Yang were both able to pick out the fact that his field had fully grown wheat, beets, carrots, and potatoes in it. So a full growing season has finished for this field. And Yang is finding trouble believing that he built this house and the farm in only a few hours because there's a fence. Yep. That's what she has a problem with, is the fence.
I mean, he picked the wrong thing for her to zero in on.
Yes. Yeah. Growing crops in an hour, completely acceptable. Building a fence in an hour, madness.
You should check memes and shit posts real quick.
Oh no. Oh no.
Alright, fortified by an amusing joke about my city. I'm ready to come back to this garbage.
Cool, go look at memes and shit posts real quick.
Yes, I see. I saw that.
That is a good point. That is
Uh,
a very good point.
Meanwhile, the Gundam subreddit's like, yo, clearly they have mobile suit prototypes in there. Let's go get ourselves a Gundam.
A Gundam? Nah, Max, let's be real. We'll be lucky to steal an ashtray. Like a Gen 1 ashtray. How did you... What is this software?
No, we'll be lucky to get a ball. Or a mobile worker.
Yo, I am super down if all we can do is steal balls.
Yeah, so you finally have a pair. Ruby Fix are great. They're great with something. And is that an entire library? Blake's ears perked up, both sets, although that was unknown to her partner at the time. And there's even a mine that goes 100 meters underground, Steve answered in a semi-sarcastic tone. Would you guys like to come in for a minute? I just put some fish and other meats in the furnaces. And so, yeah, they come inside, and they're all hungry, and they're like, hey, they couldn't get any weirder. So then Steve disappears down a trapdoor, then reappears with a bunch of food, and Blake then hisses at everyone and grabs the fish and gnaws on it. That's normal behavior, right, guys?
That's dumb.
Just taking fish from a strange man.
And now Blake is moaning sexually in the background, and everyone decides to ignore it.
I mean, that's what they do all the rest of the time anyway.
I'll be shocked if anyone actually shows up for the Area 51 raid. I mean, apparently, according to a news article I found, the Delta Airlines, I believe it was, is actually now suddenly sold out for plane tickets to that area of Nevada for September.
Well, A, people can always cancel those tickets. It's quite a ways away. B, I'm pretty sure Delta Airlines doesn't go that far. Most airlines, at least as far as I know, only go 2 months out. 3 at the absolute most. So, I mean, maybe.
September's 2
Let me
months
finish.
away.
Maybe
Atin.
they're selling tickets to get there.
Atin.
What?
September's in 2 months.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm aware. Well, no.
Yes.
Closer to...
It's 2 months from now.
When... Sorry, the raid is supposed to be when?
September 19th.
Alright. Yeah, at this point, yeah, it's 2 months.
I don't know why they think this is a good idea, because that's one of those sites where it's like, there are warnings posted at intervals as you approach the facility, and you don't get warning shots there.
Well, no. Technically, the military can't shoot you on sight until you're over the fence.
Yeah, I know, and I think there are a couple of fences.
Mm-hmm.
Too. So at that point, I guess it becomes a game of, okay, how many fences do we let them have?
Well, just remember, Max, they can't stop all of us.
Apparently, they're training their people on base with 50 cals.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yes, they do that.
Also, on top of that,
No,
apparently
like,
the FBI has issued a warning for the area. They have to legitimately take the threat of 300,000 people Naruto running at the Area 51 base seriously. There is an actual boardroom in which a bunch of people in suits have actually had to sit down, put
And
folders
look at
in front of
memes.
themselves, and look at each other and seriously discuss the memes of a group of people Naruto running at Area 51.
No, Arn, I'm talking 50 cal machine guns,
50
not
cal
snipers.
BMG. Yeah.
They
I was
have
gonna
them running MG training right
I
now
was
with
gonna say-
50 caliber.
And guess what? America has a lot of those. Because we stuck them on all our Humvees.
Yeah, but you guys don't understand. If you're Naruto running, you can dodge bullets.
Yeah, I feel like people said the same thing about Matrix dodging.
It's just like in my video games. God bless the internet, indeed.
At least from what I've heard from a couple of people. Yeah, they're like, guys, they're having us train up on 50 cows. We haven't had to touch these in our 2 years here. Please stop. Please don't do this.
Absolutely do this. We have to free the aliens, guys. Fuck the internet. There is a minefield around the base.
Oh, I forgot about that. Oh no.
That's why we send the furries first.
I forgot we actively mined the area around there because it's super experimental Air Force stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Area 51 memes,
Oh no.
someone finally made a joke for a Tinder joke.
Oh no.
Uh.
Well done. Well, that is my favorite goddamn meme from Area 51. Holy shit! Thank you, Notes there. Perfect. Oh god.
Rock throwers.
Thank you, internet. Thank you.
They found the landmines.
Oh, internet. Okay, let's get back on track and let's finish this fic up and move the hell on. Anyway, so, what are Grim? Well, they are Grim. They're dark creatures. Oh, those things are Grim. I was disappointed because I killed them and they didn't drop any loot. I killed some Deathstalkers and some Nevermores. Yeah, right. How could you have possibly killed Deathstalkers and Nevermores? Why would I lie about that? Can I go back to the academy with you guys? I need to talk to someone about my predicament. Sure. Let us get the relic and we'll take you to Beacon Academy. So all three exited the house and they grabbed their piece. Now, should we go back to Beacon, and then overhead they heard a faint but getting gradually louder heads up, drawn out over the course of the next few seconds. That's the end of Chapter 1. Now, Chapter 2 is actually going to cover next Tuesday in the Electric Boogaloo.
Oh no.
Oh no, why?
Because it just gets worse. Because it just gets worse, and it's great.
We had. On the one hand, I'm morbidly curious. Like, I regularly read trash fics because I need to see the train wreck and how much worse it gets. I'm not sure about this one.
So, this is our next upfic, which is a Harry Potter Skyrim crossover by my game.
Oh god.
Okay.
Called Rise of the Dragon Child. When the true Dragonborn is killed by the Thalmor before uncovering his true nature, Sheogorath comes up with a crazy plan and Akatosh takes some drastic measures. Now, Harry is stuck in a world he knows nothing about with nothing to his name but a pair of glasses and a black dragon that wants him dead. What a start. So this is an action fantasy story featuring Harry Potter, Hedwig, Akatosh, and Nocturnal as the waifu.
Oh, side note, Betty White's in on the meme, guys. She's gonna be at Area 51.
Oh, is she?
What? Wait, is this real?
I need sauce. Oh, god damn it. Oh no, Betty White! Betty White!
Okay. If this, oh boy.
Is Hollywood gonna join in on the attack on Area 51?
I like some of the comments. Betty White and Chuck Norris are the results of experiments in Area 51. They're returning home.
Betty White knows how to get in.
She'll just take him through the back door.
Exactly. Considering they all want to go into the back door anyway. Heyo! I'm still waiting on that PJO HP crossover you promised. We'll get to it eventually. But I wanted to do this one first. So, now the author absolutely butchers their attempt at naming a track. Because what they say is Prelude, comma, Final Fantasy Distea, dash, Equinox 4, comma, Jean Michael Jar. Now, the problem with this, as I'm saying, is that to anyone who does not know that specific track, this looks like gibberish to me. Because I'm not sure if the song name is Prelude, or Prelude Final Fantasy Distea, or is that the album? Is Equinox 4 the song name? Why is there a second comma there? Is that the artist name? Like, can't you just put by? Like everyone else does?
Well, no, I mean, I haven't played Dissadia Final Fantasy, but I assume it's from the Prelude and it's Equinox 4.
See,
by some guy named Jean Michael Jar.
I don't know. I don't know, and the reason why I don't know is because there's no fucking structure there for me to understand. What is that supposed to be the game it's from? Is that supposed to be the name of the song? Is this an OST I should be looking for?
Mm-hmm.
Also, he then fucks it up further by saying music tracks as if it's plural. So I don't know, are these two different songs?
That's true.
They might be?
Exactly! I don't know!
Prelude from Dissidia and Equinox 4 from Jean-Michel Jarre?
I don't know.
Or they're both from Dissadia? I don't know. You're right. The longer I look at it, the dumber it gets.
Yeah, exactly. We're just like it is multiple tracks. Just like it just he misspelled track. Is it supposed to be one track? Is it actually supposed to be two tracks? Where do the tracks end? Are the commas separating them? Is it the dash? Is the song called Final Fantasy Disgaea Equinox 4? Or
yeah, they're two separate tracks.
Okay.
That's a bad way to differentiate between them, I think.
NASCAR chess crossover? I don't think that's an option. Akatosh glared at Nern. He was powerless, and it was something he hated. Not that it was uncommon, even more than the Daedric princes, which is an improper use of colon. The divines couldn't manifest in the world, and their influence was limited to faith-related blessings. That is incorrect as well. Someone get a fiend in here so he can froth over this. The Daedra had an advantage on them in that field. Hello, Marty. Something's the matter. Your scales look all ruffled. The dragon god turned wearily to Sheogorath. Barring the fact that there's a, Sheogorath's in the divine realm.
But don't you see? He can just go wherever he pleases.
Of course. Hey there, Sheo. Yes, something is bothering me. Really bothering me, he said as he insisted on really.
Oh, yes, I see. Just...
I am not reading Sonic NASCAR.
A, good. B, yes, he just absolutely uses familiar nicknames with a being that he likely despises.
Well, no, see, the thing here is that in Oblivion, Martin ascends to join in into Akatosh's soul as he manifests as an avatar on the
Yes,
mortal
I'm
plane.
aware.
And Sheogorath is canonically the Cyrodiilic champion from Oblivion. And so the author is implying here is that Sheogorath, the Cyrodiilic champion version, is treating Akatosh as if he is Martin, the priest he saved in Vatch. Because
Gotcha.
reasons. Because Sheogorath is just so silly and he's funny, right? It's funny.
Ho ho, ha ha, hee hee.
Exactly, thank you.
To those of you that play Dota and that I've just triggered, I do not apologize.
What? The Mad God asked in disbelief. Someone has managed to piss off my old pal, Time God? Who are they, that I teach them the error of their ways, I hang them by their intestines? The Thalmar. Who else? Bloody elven supremacists. Yes, that's right. Akatosh is both British and hates elves.
It's probably always the weirdest thing about reading stories from British authors. It's like, that's probably not common vernacular in the world that you're writing in, right?
Oh, it's even better, actually, because Americans actually speak proper English. Because what happened is when the Revolutionary War finished, in response to the perceived lower classes winning their freedom from the noble upper-ish class, the upper class actually started speaking in the British we know today, in that the hauntier accent on purpose. And because they did that, it eventually filtered down to the lower class, and the lower class started speaking like that in Britain as well. So, we actually speak a more pure version of English than Britain does. The more you know. How does it feel, Britain? How does it feel? Anyway, let's continue. Akatosh's glare was positively murderous. Sheogorath felt a shiver run down his spine. Despite his influence being limited, the dragon was still time itself, and a very bad foe once you got on his bad side. It seems the high elves of the Aldmiri Dominion had done just that. All right, spill the beans. I know the who, but what did they do, where, when, and why? Akatosh snarled. Who? The Thalmor. What did they do? You
Go on, finish your thoughts.
Also, you're trying to do this whole back and forth thing, and I appreciate it. You're doing an okay job of it, but the character just said, I already know the who, so tell me the what, where, when, and why. And your character, in response, said the Thalmor, of course, in response to the question that wasn't asked, which was who. It was specifically unasked because he already said he knows the who. So having your character then respond in a dialogic fashion of, it's the Thalmor, of course, is both redundant and breaks the back and forth. Because the question was already answered and was specifically excluded from future questioning. Also, you're not Abbott and Costello, so you can't get away with that joke. What did they do? They killed the Dragonborn before he could discover his true nature at the Shrine of Talos, south of Gallows Rock. And I am furious because Alduin is coming back next week and the only person who could stop him is dead. Sheogorath frowned. Sorry, my mind's a little fussy. Care to jog my memories? Again, so the funny aspect here is that the author believes that Alduin is acting outside of the knowledge of Akatosh and the wishes of Akatosh. He's not. In fact, none of the Divines are opposed to Alduin wiping the world into a clean slate and starting the great game once again. The reason why they do help when people ask for it is because they think that people who want to not die should fight for the right to not die. And whoever wins is who wins. If the will to not die is stronger than Alduin's task of wiping the world clean, then the world gets to stay intact for a little bit longer. If not, then the world is wiped clean and it all starts over again. The gods don't care. The problem with writing Elder Scrolls stories, for fanfiction authors especially, is that a majority of them have only played the games and then try to go and characterize the gods and etc. Except the problem here is that the gods are already very characterized. There's actually a massive heap of lore. Just fucking mountains of lore, actually, for the Elder Scrolls series. A excessive amount, one might say. To the point where I would never expect anyone writing for the Elder Scrolls series to know it all. But I would also expect them to respect the fact that they don't know it all and not try and invent shit that already exists.
That sounds hard, though. Sounds very hard.
Yeah, well, it's actually easier than it sounds because all you have to do is not do something, which is actually the easier option than doing something because you don't even have to do anything to succeed at that. And yet somehow fanfiction authors find a way.
Also, Potatoes makes a good point, which is that Shegorath is both insane and the smartest guy in the room.
Yes, because he thinks outside of the box the most.
Well, no, not just that. He's literally the smartest one.
Yes. Because he thinks outside the box the most. He's not restricted by his domain.
I would say the only one who even comes close is Tentacle Boy, Hermaeus Mora.
Yep, but even he is somewhat restricted by the nature of his domain.
Well, yeah, his job isn't to think; his job is to hoard.
Yep. Which is why he's really easy to trick. But also why you don't want to trick him. Because he's also really fucking smart, and he will kill you.
You're sneaky. You're like leaning super far away from your mic.
I'm actually not. I'm just muttering.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so, blah, 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 blah. My mind's a little fussy. Can you care to jog my memories? Right, your ascension to Daedric Prince is recent. You wouldn't know who Alduin is. Long of the short of it, he's the harbinger of the apocalypse, world leader, blah, 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 blah. If you're going to destroy the world, why did you make him? Because all things must come to an end, and as the god of time, my first creation was the creature that will bring it. I didn't plan for it to come so soon, though. Actually, you did. So, little more lore time. So, another little fun fact about Elder Scrolls lore is that the original period of time in which Alduin was supposed to wipe the world clean was actually thousands of years ago. And Alduin didn't wipe the world clean thousands of years ago. Alduin instead looked upon the world and said, why would I destroy this world when I can rule it? And that is when he proceeded to conquer humanity in the name of the Dove. And,
not just humanity.
well, humans and elves and etc. Yeah. Except for the Akaviri because they had serpents that ate dragons. The Akaviri are weird.
Pretty much anytime anything weird's happening in the Elder Scrolls universe, it is the Akaviri's fault.
Is that like a general rule of thumb or something?
They just do they just cause the weird stuff. That's pretty much all there is to it.
Akaviri got some weird shit going on.
Alright then.
Yeah, and the slowed. But so anyway, that's not the point. Point here is that the dragons conquered a majority of the known world and enslaved all men and men. There was races like the Dwemer who took refuge deep underground and did that whole fun thing. But eventually, humanity, specifically the Nords, rose up in challenge to the dragons, and praying to the altar, they were struck by divine revelation by an unknown god, and were capable of crafting into the language of the Dove, which is the language of reality, the concepts that were previously not in the language, which was mortality and death. Because the concept of being killed was in the language, but the concept of final death was not. And so, upon being capable of
Well,
expressing.
also dying of age.
Yes. And by combining those three words together, mortality, age, and final death, the humans were capable of creating a shout that would render onto the dragons the concept of dying, allowing them to weaken the dragons, because obviously they were still humans and not dragons, which were basically demigods. They were able to weaken the dragons to the point where they were able to temporarily slay them. This shout, however, does not work against Alduin, because not only is he the closest to Akatosh, he is basically a god in of himself, because he is made out of Akatosh's own soul. So, instead of killing Alduin, the humans acquired themselves a Elder Scroll and were capable, after the sacrifice of one of their fellows, capable of turning the scroll into a time portal that would send Alduin forward, what was it, 6,000 years or some shit?
No, remember, they didn't do it to send him forward. They explicitly just wanted to
Well,
throw
they
him
threw
out.
him, yeah, they wanted to throw him out of time, but all they were capable of doing was, in the end, throwing him 6,000 years into the future.
No. It, I could be remembering incorrectly, but as far as I knew, they specifically did it to throw him out of time. They didn't know what would happen. They just knew that they were going to throw him out.
Yeah, but
They didn't.
what I'm saying though is that their intention was to throw him out of time. However, what ended up happening was he was only transported 6,000 years into the future.
Ah, I see. Yes.
At which point he reappears into reality, and tries to kill you, the Dragonborn, at your beheading, and instead accidentally saves you, thus leading into a grand adventure which
Whoops.
inevitably kills him. But, however, at the end of Skyrim, for those who are unaware again, you do not actually absorb Alduin's soul. It is instead taken back up into the Divine Realm to be remade into Alduin once more, when Akatosh has decided to once again wipe the slate clean. As the men and mayor of the world had successfully triumphed over the end of the world and were granted another age. Elder Scrolls lore.
I would say also, to be fair, he probably also had to go back and find a way to wipe the old Alduin slate clean. Figure out a way to keep him from. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Don't take over the world this time.
More or less, yes. The fucking Sijik Order. I love those guys. Anyway. Blah, blah, blah. You don't want Alduin to end the world. Yes, it is too early to end the world, but not right now. So, I've already explained all this. Blah, blah, blah. The only way to stop Alduin is with the Dragonborn, to which I impart my essence. The Dragonborn is the only one able to killing dragons by absorbing their essence and their soul and taking their knowledge along. This is why you can stop Alduin, but the Thalmor killed him, yes, before he could realize he was the Dragonborn. Alduin is coming back.
Okay, but here's the problem with that. It wouldn't actually stop Akatosh's plans because he just gives some chump a dragon soul.
It is actually somewhat debated in the Elder Scrolls lore community what exactly the beginning of Skyrim is supposed to mean, and whether you actually get the Dova soul, when exactly that happens, whether you always had it or just awakened in you, because the last known existence of dragon blood on the universe of Cyrodiil
Yes, was the Emperor.
was the Martin Septon. And so it's undetermined as to whether Akatosh intervened during your birth to make a pact, or if it was at that moment, that crux of time, that Akatosh was capable of interfering and infusing your soul with the remnants of his own essence.
Listen, I really need a Dragonborn on the stage right now.
Because keep in mind, there was an Elder Scrolls prophecy that did in fact predict that the Dragonborn line would end, but the last Dragonborn would emerge to fight the first Dragonborn. So it is.
Well, to be fair, Mirak messed a lot of stuff up.
Yes, but it was still part of an Elder Scrolls prophecy,
Yes.
which always come to pass. But yeah, so it's like, does that mean that the Elder Scrolls made the Dragonborn, or was it Akatosh making the Dragonborn, and the Elder Scrolls just prophesized that it would occur? Like, it's like, it's a lore gray area. It could just be Akatosh doesn't give a shit what Alduin does unless he fails at doing it. I mean, Akatosh really didn't even care that Alduin enslaved all the men in Mer, because the Dragon Empire lasted for like a couple hundred years or something. So if Akatosh really cared, then he probably would have ended it quicker.
I mean, to be fair, he might have been limited to.
Well, again, the author did get that right, where it is mildly faith related that the gods are restricted from interfering. And so, like I said again, it could have just been until someone in large enough groups prayed for Akatosh's salvation or something. That's it, though. He didn't fail. No, exactly. He didn't fail. He just delayed what his job was supposed to do. Alduin never failed.
Well, no, he did. When the Dragonborn kicks his ass.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's when Akatosh intervened and reclaimed Alduin's soul.
Yes. Up until that point, he was just doing his job really, really badly.
Yes. Anyway, so why can't you just make a new Dragonborn? Blah blah blah. This doesn't matter. The author butchers the lore completely. Blah blah blah. He also gives some sort of Naruto logic reasoning as to why they can't put Biju into people. Alright then, why not look outside of Nurn? Akatosh's face is priceless. Are you insane? No, of course you're insane. You're the Prince of Madness. But it may work, right? I mean, look at all the worlds outside of Mundus. One of them's bound to have a candidate. Have you ever thought about the energy and skill needed to bring him here? That shut up short of Gorath, right? I forgot about that. The world's gonna end in a week, and there's not a bloody thing we can do. Actually, maybe there is. Jigalag, what are you doing here, sexy surprising appearance?
Okay,
The
literally
fuck
none
is
of them
that?
would care about the world ending.
Yeah, Jigalag actually wants to bring about the end of the world. Because if the world ends, that means that everything has been brought to final order. Oh no. Is that real?
What?
Shaggy, Chuck Norris, and Keanu Reeves all made Snapchats of Area 51
Oh
Countdown.
yeah.
Oh god. Oh boy, Ed Hemsworth. No.
Many people have memed.
Is Hollywood going to join the charge? See, now this is the part where we will find out if humans are actually orcs, in that their belief in the Hollywood actors temporarily turns them into their most known role. And I don't know. Honestly, I feel like that sort of Shadowrun tier level of fuckery would be an excellent way to kick off 2020.
I mean,
Anyway, back to this crap. The Silver Daedric Prince shrugged. I was wandering through the realms of Mundus, and I just happened to overhear your conversation in the realms of the divine.
not how that works.
You need power and skill to bring in the potential Dragonborn to stop the apocalypse. I believe I can provide the power. This is actually, I will give the author this. Jigalag is actually the strongest Daedric Prince, almost on tier with the Divines themselves in terms of power. Because, his concept is order, and order is very focused, which means his power is very, very focused. So it's immense. So I'll give the author credit for that. Obviously, for skill, between Julianos and Hermaeus Mora, I don't think it'll take long for them to come up with a plan. Yes, the Divine of Wisdom and Hermaeus Mora just working together, because they both care.
They both, they're actually just best buds.
Jigalag is also the only Daedric Prince who can match with Sheogorath. Yes, that is also true. Your help is appreciated, but why are you doing this, if you don't mind me asking? Jigalag looked at Nern. For the very reason that you mentioned, it is too early for this world to end. No, Jigalag wants to end this world. In fact, that was a major plot point of Oblivion.
The sooner the world ends, the happier he is.
Jigalag wanted to end all of the Daedric realms. And the mortal realm. He wanted to end it all. You stopped him. And if you were the special sort, you beat him to death with a fork. So, he's not really concerned with Alduin yeeting the world, because as far as Jigalag's concerned, if Alduin yeets the whole world back into nothing, then it is in perfect order. Which makes him even stronger. And then he yeets Oblivion. Which is his goal. So, yeah. But whatever. Sure, Jigalag helps stop the apocalypse.
That he's been eagerly awaiting.
Yes.
Good to know.
Julianus was not remotely happy to work with the elder Daedric Prince. But it was this or seeing the world end. And there were events dire enough that hated foes. Actually, another fun thing is that Hermaeus Mora would also likely not try and stop the world, because he is a collector of knowledge, and there is nothing that would bring more knowledge than an entirely new world of discoveries.
Now, to be fair, you could argue. You could argue that I have not collected all the knowledge in this world. I don't want there to be a new one yet, because I'm not done grabbing all the knowledge in this one.
That is true.
That's about the only argument I could think of as to why Hermaeus Mora
That is
would
true.
stop it.
However,
although he might just look at it as a value proposition of, sure, I'll miss out on a lot of knowledge, but
alternatively, consider this. He sends his agents out to contact all of the places that he hasn't gained knowledge from yet, and goes, hey, area, If you give me your knowledge, I will bring you to my realm, so when the Mundus gets yeeted, you won't be.
That's true.
The apocalypse is a very good negotiation tool.
I possess knowledge that the world is going to end. If you'd like to not get yeeted out of existence, work for me.
Yes. Anyway, so they all work together and they come up with a plan. And I can't lend you my strength, but I need to imbue the Dragonborn with my essence. You are the god of time. If you are trying to reach beyond the space-time continuum, you kind of need time involved in that. The only people that would not want to end the world would be Clavicus Vile, and we're like, well, no, you're actually forgetting Meridia. Meridia would be concerned with it. Nocturnal has a couple of favorites, so she would probably not be down with it. Azara also likes mortals. Pyrite loves mortals. He also likes diseases. So he's a little bit weird like that, but he likes mortals. Her scene is 50-50. Problem with him is that he's just in it for the hunt, and he really probably wouldn't care either way, because either way, all of his followers would end up in his realm as the hunters.
I would say
the hunted.
either the world gets yeeted out of existence, and I get new stuff to hunt,
Right.
or it doesn't, and I keep hunting.
Yeah, exactly. So he wouldn't exactly care. He would be more concerned with Jigalag gaining so much power from the destruction of Mundus. But other than that, he wouldn't really be overly concerned, though. Sanguine wouldn't want the world to end.
That's true. I'm trying to think. Is there anyone else?
Well, Sheogorath, obviously. He likes mortals.
No. Realistically, Sheogorath wouldn't give a shit. Well, let me phrase that. He would be a flip.
No, he would help the mortals specifically because he would likely find it more hilarious to stymie Alduin than it would be to help Alduin. Because it would be easy mode to help Alduin versus the mortals, but it would be a lot funnier to watch the mortals struggle against Alduin. So he would help. So yeah, honestly, out of all of the characters that the author brought in to stop the apocalypse, only one of them would actually want to stop the apocalypse.
For sure.
For shits and giggles. So.
Well, no. I thought we established Meridia wouldn't want it to end.
Meridia's not here.
No, hold on.
Well,
I can't grant you.
Now he's bringing.
He turned to the other Daedric Princes and Seventh Divines. So, did you find a potential host?
Yeah. So at this point, the author brings all of them in for meme time. This is the part where the author starts memeing. But previously in the discussion of how to save the world, it was Akatosh, who doesn't care, Julianos, which I guess you could say he cares because they're mortals, but at the same time, he would respect Akatosh's, plans for reality. Likely. He's the god of wisdom, so it's kind of, hard to say. Hermaeus Mora wouldn't care particularly. Sheogorath would do it for shits and giggles. That's pretty much the only person that would care before. But anyway, so all of the princes and divines come in and they start to meme. And so Talos wants to bring in a mercenary at the heart of a lion who is trapped outside of time. I don't know who that one was a specific reference to. Azura's choice was Sora. Hersine's choice was a fully grown man deeply attuned to draconic energies, able to jump between worlds that had all been retconned after his meddling with time. Which I don't know what it's a reference to, but I'm sure someone will.
Yeah, I have no idea what that could be.
Zenithar's choice was a spiky-haired teenager who uses cards to fight with an ancient spirit bound to a puzzle piece around his neck.
It's a Yu-Gi-Oh joke!
Kinnereth wanted to bring the Avatar, the Last Airbender. Pyrite wanted to bring in Taylor from Worm. And then the author ran out of meme and decided to skip the rest of them. And it finally went to Mara's choice, which is a 13-year-old boy with a lightning scar on his forehead. And his whole family was killed by necromancers, and blah, blah, blah. And Akatosh was like, whoa, man, this guy's soul is, like, parasitized by this evil necromancer soul. And so he ripped it out and put his soul into it.
Could he do that? I don't think he could get away with that.
No, not really. He could get away with that if Harry was a devout follower of Akatosh, probably.
Well, yeah.
But Max is slowly dying of boredom in the background. I'm sorry, Max. So then they grab his soul and they yeet him into Skyrim. And some really crappy narrative occurs, and Harry is all warm and stuff now as Akatosh pours himself into him.
Hey, whoa, I thought we were keeping this fic PG.
It is. Anu, this can't be. Is there something wrong, Marty? Akatosh looked at him in disbelief. This soul is actually a fragment of the essence of a necromancer that killed his family.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, was I supposed to be shocked?
Apparently, we're supposed to be shocked by this, yes. And then Hermaeus Mora was like, yo, toss me that soul. I want to get my tentacles into it. Consider it the price of my help.
If ever asks you for something, the answer is no. It doesn't matter what he's asking for. The answer is no.
Usually, yes. However, after he's done you a favor, the answer is usually, please don't plot my death. And then you say yes.
That's fair.
Anyway, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. So, Akatosh, don't worry. I have agreed to help you. Bargain or not, the boy will help you retrieve the skeleton key. You showed me what Mercer Frey has done. That is evil and stuff. He will pay for it. Yes, the dragon concept of time. He's very concerned with morals and ethics of men. Yeah. Nailed it. I am the Daedric Prince of Thieves, Akatosh. Thieves do nothing without expecting something in return. This is the way we are, and it goes both ways. The boy will have my support. He'll need it to stop the end of the world. And then she kissed him. Akatosh was so surprised he remained motionless, and Sheogorath grinned. Did Nocturnal just steal a kiss from you? That she did, the Time God admitted, and I'm not even mad. She's a very pretty woman. Now let's get back to the boy. And so yeah, then he puts Harry Potter into a cart heading towards the town Helgen.
Yep. Of course he does.
And with that, we are at 9 p.m. exactly. Look how good we are at this. We are just so good at this shit. So, that about covers it up. Let's see. Do we got anything else to say? Let's see. Ruby Season 7 isn't out yet, so we don't have to mock that yet. I'll be here Friday. No, that about covers it. So, thank you all for showing up. I'm sorry if we bored you a little bit, but not every stream can be an action-packed hilarity. We have only done 327 of these. But, with that being said, you should always spread the word to wherever you think it will be received, because the more people that show up, the more fun we can have with not reading fics, and the more discussions we can do, because that's always better than reading trash. So, with all of that being said, I shall bid you viewers a fond farewell, because there is always more and it will always get worse.